Alright guys, we are back with some more MX versus ATV Legends. Today we're going to be checking out the quad. The quad. And the UTV. I didn't feel like doing a separate video for the UTV, so it'll be at the very end of this video. So we're going to start with the quad, show you the quads they have. They have the Suzuki, 2 Yamahas, the KTM, Honda, Kawasaki, and then you have the Rainbow THQ version as well, which is just in the game. Okay, so the quad. Now, I do apologize I didn't get quad gameplay sooner. I have seen some people asking for it. I do realize that there are a decent amount of players that do prefer to use a quad, which is great. I just prefer the bike, so usually, that's what I prefer to have in game. But how is the quad? How does it feel in the game? So I am not a pro quad player by any means. Okay, I'm not great with the quad. We were okay with the quad in Supercross Encore, but I barely used it in All Out. So what I did was I went back into All Out and used the quad, just to see how it felt, to get a comparison for you, to get a better idea of how these two quads match up. And at first I thought the quad was way better in this game, but I'm not so sure about that. The quad isn't bad in this game, and they generally do this in most of their games. What they do is they give the quad more power. So in my opinion, I haven't used it a ton, but the quad definitely feels like it has more power than the bike. I'm not sure if the clutch boost works better for the quad or not. It's hard to tell, but specifically in Supercross, the quad definitely feels like it can hit some of those bigger lines that the bike could hit, but it would be tough, right? So the quad has good power, and it handles okay. But the quad, I thought it was better because you could lean your rider in the direction you're turning. And I know people complain that in All Out you couldn't, or the rider was always leaning the wrong direction. But actually the rider, you could make him lean into the turn in All Out. The problem was if you didn't use the right stick, the rider does kind of lean away, and the rider does the same thing in this game. Maybe not quite as much, but the rider definitely does lean away sometimes if you don't use the right analog stick, right? So you could lean into the turns in All Out as well. I did not remember that being a thing, but you could. So I don't know. The quads definitely, I don't have the quad, I don't have a master tune for the quad, so we're using a pretty basic one, but we do have some first person here. The first person, I really don't know. I mean, I never used it in All Out, so it's kind of like, yeah, first person is decent, First person for the bikes is amazing, in my opinion. I saw some people saying it was terrible. What are you talking about? It looks great. It has a customizable camera. You can change the field of view. First person is awesome. For the quad, I don't know. I don't ride quads. I don't have a quad. I don't use a quad, so I don't know. I mean, it looks okay for me, but if you're a quad guy, you would definitely know more than I do. And if it feels like we're trying to be really careful, it's because we are. There are a couple things about the quad that do bother me a bit. But yeah, we were trying to be careful because I didn't want to... It was pretty easy to slide off the track. I was trying to make the quad corner good and look decent and whatnot. But there are some faults. I mean, the bike has some faults too. It isn't just a quad. We just haven't talked about it very much yet, but we will. The quad, the whoops are really tough in this game, okay, in my opinion. If you're watching this video way later and you've mastered the whoop section, maybe they aren't, but right now, they're tough. The quad has trouble in the whoops, okay? Yeah, it's a quad, it should. Well, I don't know. I can see a bike guy saying that. I don't know. I don't know if quads can blitz whoops awesome, or I don't know. I really don't know, so I'm not even going to comment on it. All I'm going to say is that the quad struggles in the whoops, and it isn't because the wheels start to get, he starts to bounce left and right and then tips over. No, not so much that. The quad, it feels like the quad is more bouncy than the bike in this game. And so when you get in the whoops, the quad really starts to bounce a lot. And the out of control animation the quad gets is different than the bike. So you jump into the whoops and get out of control, and then the quad bounces, the front end pops up, and then it just is kind of weird how that is. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the quad is pretty fun, and I feel like it can be pretty competitive against the bike. This is the UTVs. We're showing you the actual, excuse me, the actual OEMs that you can get, and the rest of the video is just going to be some UTV free riding here in the desert, which it was pretty fun. We'll talk about the UTV a bit, blah 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 blah, a bit, but I do want to finish my thought on the quad. So the quad, it is good, it is competitive, and it is fun to play and use in the game. It just has a couple things that I didn't like about it, but for the most part, it's fine. And again, I'm not a pro quad player in the game. I barely use them, so I probably wouldn't be the best person to give a review for the quad, but that's just my impressions about it. You can take what you want from it and go from there. But this is the UTV. The UTV, this was a ton of fun. I don't normally care. I mean, free riding in these games is fun, but it was more fun with the UTV. We are in the dunes here. I wish the dunes could be, they're really big, far and in between. I wish there was more dunes to jump off of here. Looks gorgeous, but the UTV was a ton of fun. We do show you some first person. The first person was super awkward for me to use, so we only do it for a tiny bit. But if you did want to see some first person, we did capture some for you. So just for you, if you are that player. Like I said, it was just really awkward. I don't play any other kind of racing game when you're in a seat, so it was kind of weird, but it was fun. It was definitely fun. And yeah, the UTV, taking it, there's trails all over the map. There's tight trails, there's wide trails, there's huge jumps you can hit at max speed. The UTV is fun. The UTV is also kind of invincible. You can hit rocks, you can jump off rocks, you can ram into rocks, and it's fine. You just kind of keep going. So UTV is kind of invincible. The way it handles, it is kind of slippery. It does swap around pretty easy even after you tune it, but it works. It works for this particular vehicle. It is okay. It kind of reminds me, I mean, it plays kind of the way it did in All Out. I don't remember because I only really used the UTV for like one video. I bought a Polaris and then showed it to you guys at the very end of something because at the goat farm, because it just isn't a part of the game that I really care about, but it's cool. It looks cool, it plays cool, it's just fun, especially in free ride. So yeah, I encourage you guys, if you are going to use the UTV, to take it into free roam. You don't have to buy an OEM if you don't care about that. If you do have an OEM and you want to have your same UTV in the game, you probably can find it in as a DLC. But yeah, they have the Rainbow, maybe a THQ Nordic UTV as well. And as far as I can tell, the DLC stuff isn't an advantage. It isn't a pay to win. I'm sure players will come out and say that the Honda's better or the KTM's better, but as far as I know, the OEM skins are just that, just a skin. It doesn't make it better. or worse, it's the same as the base vehicles. So the Rainbow, the THQ, all that stuff. So yeah, I had a great time. UTV was fun. Quad was fun, but just those couple things that kind of bother me about it. Again, if you are a quad player, please let us know in the comments down below how you feel it matches up to the way it was in All Out, and we can go from there. But you guys and girls are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the support on the channel lately. It really does mean a lot. And until the next video, take it easy.